Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Today we're going to be covering everything else that I have not already gone through on mines. This is going to be quite lengthy. Last time I tried recording this, it was like 45 minutes, and then I realized there was a bunch of errors, so I just gave up on it, but I'm going to finish it today. So this will be pretty lengthy, so I'm going to try to be brief and concise as I go through this, but this will cover everything that I have not previously covered, and this will it'll be a great way to finish off the absolutely epic guide for learning to use mines. In that, I'll be going through basically everything that I wrote in that blog, but haven't covered on video, and doing that now. So let's just dive right into it. There's going to be a lot here. Some of this will be general, some of this will be more in depth, but we're going to pretty much cover everything there is to cover. So the first thing is editing your profile. As you can see here, you can put several images in your banner and form a slideshow. So I've got my original one, which shows up on mobile, and when you first look at my account, you'll see the main, it gives a good idea of what my account has. And then when you're on here, it's got just this nice cycle through of these different colors to create a nice little just a nice aesthetic effect of swapping through these different colors, but keeping the same background, so it just looks nice. So there's different things that you can do with that. You can kind of play around with that, and yeah, so you would do that by going to this little edit symbol, which is just like a little pencil. And once you're in edit mode, you can click on your avatar to change it, and here you can see the minimum size is 2000 pixels by 1125 at a ratio of 16:9. And you can click on this to change it, or you can start to go through, and this would add a new one, and that's how you can add more and more as you go through, and then you can go over the previous ones and replace them as needed, as well as at the top here you can get rid of them. So if you just wanted to go back to having one or whatever it might be, you can go through and you can remove them as needed. And then the pencil switches to a check mark, and when you are done, you would just click the check mark. And it also allows you to edit your bio or your about section here. And then when you're done doing all that and you scroll to the bottom, you can also, it actually says edit when you look at the button below your bio rather than at the top. So in case you're confused as to where the edit is, you could also just go use the actual edit button because it's a little more obvious. So also below your bio, you've got your geolocation, you've got your hashtags that your account is used, like is connected with, and then you can add as many links as you like, which is also really nice. But I just have my linkle address. And then below that, you've got your subscribers, all your general stuff. You can boost your profile. You see your wires and everything. I talk about rewards in a different blog, but rewards are just, you can set up, like, this is not automatically done. This is something that you offer yourself, and if people donate a certain amount of tokens, you should be upholding your whatever you offer them for that amount. So if someone donates me 5 tokens or more, I will add their name to my supporters list on my bio. So I mean, you don't necessarily have to uphold it, but it's probably going to hurt your reputation if you don't. So I highly recommend using rewards and also being consistently keeping up with them and making sure you're actually following through on what you promised. What's something that is really important to note out of all of this, though, is your hashtags, because you can only choose 5 hashtags, and these are where you're going to show up in the channels list. So if you went to channels, I would only show up under these hashtags, as well as the all hashtag. But if you were looking through only music, you wouldn't find my profile. So it's crucial because this is how people are going to be able to find you. So here you can see, you can set whatever hashtags you want and customize as needed, and then you'll be able to find your account. It might be challenging, I mean, because right now I'm looking at the top accounts, so you're obviously not going to be very close to the top unless you're doing very, very well. And I talk about the ranking system in a blog within the Epic Learning Guide, so you can check that out as well to learn how this works, because I'm not going to talk about it in this video because it's going to change, and for now we'll just refer to that blog, and then I'll update it as needed. So this is going to be everything else that we haven't already covered. So I think that's a pretty decent overview of the way that your profile more or less works. And you know, with your profile, you can pin 3 posts, which is really cool. You use the little bookmark symbol. Most platforms only allow you to pin 1 post, but with this platform, you can pin 3, so you can kind of change that around and use that as you please. But if you add a 4th one, it'll get rid of the top one. So, you know, move those around as you need to, but definitely try to highlight your best content, because, you know, you want to feature that so that it continues to get more traction and more engagement. Now, let me move down the list here. So when we're looking at posting, there's different types of posts. Obviously, you've got videos, images. You can go directly to the blog section, which is going to be different from using this. But we're going to look at just regular posts, including images and videos. So if you were going to upload an image and or a video, you would upload it via the attachments here. You would just click on it and then go and upload. If you wanted to upload from YouTube, you could just, you know, type in or paste in your YouTube link, and it'll take an embed and just or like a link preview, and it'll add it in to the post. I found a lot better success though by embedding YouTube videos into blogs and sharing them via blogging. As you can see, if you look in the actual Epic guide, well, I guess there is no video overlay for this, but I'll be adding this video right here, because this will be going through the majority of the stuff that's listed on here to give you a good idea. So I guess I might be able to follow along with this a little bit. If you click the explicit symbol, that just means that your post is considered explicit. Usually it's used for like anything not safe for work, like pornography, but it could also be if you believe that it's going to be extremely offensive, or, you know, if you think that someone will see this and because it's not explicit, they will block you, you're probably better off to mark explicit. Because here's the thing. If you're not marking explicit and everyone's blocking you to get you out of their feed because you've got, you know, something that they don't want, you're better off having explicit and people just need to click it, and then people who want to see it can see it, than being blocked by everyone because, you know, it might not be safe for work, right? There's a lot of people that will use Minds at work, and if they scroll past pornography and it's not explicit, then it's going to appear on their screen, and they can't do that at work, so they're going to block you. And if it happens enough, they might not even use the app anymore. So it's much better that you be using explicit than getting blocked by people. And that's just how it goes realistically. And then for public, here, I'll actually go back to the post here. When you click on this, you can set a certain token amount for people to be able to read this. So this is for premium content. This is where you are going to have people donate tokens to you to be able to read certain types of content. So say you're releasing content that only people have donated 5 tokens for to be able to read it. So if people are donating 5 tokens to you, then they can unlock this post and they'll be able to read it, but anyone else will not be able to read it. You can also set custom tokens at the bottom here, but this just gives you a good way to, if you wanted to have premium content, which I can also actually show you here what it looks like. Wire. So this is what it would look like, right? They would come to your post and they would see, well, you actually have to donate a certain amount to see this, and it's on a monthly basis. So after a month, they won't be able to see the post until they donate again. So the whole idea is that you're creating premium content for your paid subscribers. And this is where you could go in your settings to change what the default description is and what this background is by default. You can change that and make it something a little more in line with your branding or whatever you want to do. But a lot of people don't do exclusive posts. This is just an option that you have, you know, if you want to do behind the scenes or whatever it might be, you have that option too at the very least. So yeah, so then hashtags for your posts obviously are different from your profile. When you have a hashtag for your post, it will just allow people to search for your posts whenever they're in the news feed or videos or images, depending on the content you've shared. Basically, they could just go and they could put in all the different hashtags that they're looking to see, and then they'll see content based on that filtering. So I've got blockchain, crypto, art, music, and my photo. I'm assuming, this is art, different things like that. It'll give you a pretty good filter for what you're trying to find, but this is also how people will find your content. So when you're making a post, you want to make sure your hashtags are very relevant so that the people finding your posts in those, very sparingly used 5 hashtags, you want to make sure that you're getting the right people. And there's different perspectives on what's the best way to do it, like whether or not you should have 2 broad hashtags, 2 niche hashtags, and maybe like a location hashtag or a branded hashtag. It's all up to you, and I don't think we've tested it enough to know what the best combination is, but I feel like using the more general hashtags to keep within the broad spectrum of whatever categories you're trying to focus on. Like, I'm trying to focus on blockchain and crypto, as well as I dabble a little bit in philosophy, news, and politics and things of that matter. So when I'm posting about that type of content, I want all the hashtags to be as broadly used and known as possible, because it's not realistic that people are going to preference their news feed with a very hyper specific type of hashtag. Also, something that is new is, you've got, when you click on the little setting gear here, you've got all these different options. So, you can turn on explicit. You want to see explicit posts. I have them removed. If you're okay to controversial posts, you can keep those in. I keep that in for sure. Auto rotate. This just rotates through boosts. I'm actually going to turn that off because I don't want to have boosts, because I don't. If you pay for Plus, which is 20 tokens a month, you can hide or show boosts as you please, which is really nice. And what else do we have here? So Canary, if you go into your profile, or I guess the drop down main menu on your profile up here, your little icon, you'll see Canary. And I believe when you first go into it, it might not say Canary, it might say opt into experiments or something along those lines. But you would just go in here and you would hit turn on. And what it allows you to do is you can be a part of and experience all the different options and experiments that they're running for early updates. So it's kind of like you're getting the less stable beta updates for the platform, and you're able to test them out, whereas regular users don't see the same things that you're seeing. So for example, right now there's an improved help desk, and there's suggested users, and they're suggested to you based on who you're following and who's the top subscriptions that you're following. So if I go to my news feed and I see suggested channels, you see Ottman, Joe Rogan, Timcast, Jordan Peterson, and Subverse. And that's actually a pretty good representation of the people that I follow and the people that I like to see content from. So yeah, I'm sure suggested channels will be a very interesting update, though I feel like it's weird if it's giving you suggested channels that you're already following, and I can't refresh it or anything, so it doesn't really give me anything new. But again, it's experimental, right? So the whole point of this would be that I would note that, and then I would let them know and say, hey, I think it's important that you allow us to refresh in the same way that Twitter does, so you can see different suggested channels and maybe find something new and interesting to check out. And, if you don't like being able to have these early updates, which I don't know why you would, you could just turn them off very easily. You can just come back in here and turn them off, no problem. But yeah, I highly recommend checking this out, because you can try out new things, and then when they roll out to everyone, you'll have a better idea, as well as you can help improve minds. So for settings, you'll just come in and you've got all the basics here, and we're not going to focus too much on, you know, like notifications and changing your password or anything, but do note that in general you've got all your sessions that exist. So everywhere that you're logged into Minds, you can close all those for security or whatever it might be. And just another cool thing to note is that the day that and time that you created your account is listed on the bottom, and that's just kind of like nice to have, so you just as a reference for, it's like, oh yeah, when did I start again? Oh, okay, there it is. We already looked at this earlier. This was just how you can set your default for premium content. You can disable your channel where it's just not public, or you can delete it all the way. Two-factor authentication is with your phone if you want, you know, more authentication processes when you're logging in for security. Billing tracks your recurring donations. This is kind of weird because I should have this set for more people like Tim and Sargon of Akkad, but I don't know why it's not showing up. But either way, I'll still be donating one to them either way every month. But yeah, this is where you can cancel any recurring payments if you change your mind, whatever it might be. You can see all the content you've reported that's been appealed, rejected, approved, and still pending. You've got your referral link. This is kind of cool because I didn't know about this until I did this review. You can take your refer like URL and you can add this onto the end of any of your Minds posts like this has done. And it will allow anyone who clicks on your post and goes and reads it, if they end up signing up within 24 hours, you will get a referral bonus. So it's not a bad thing to just, I mean, it doesn't take much effort on your part to add something like this to the end of any post you share on Twitter or wherever it might be that takes people back to Minds, because you could end up earning money and it's not really any detriment to you or to your content to add this onto the end. So definitely something you should think about doing, because I didn't even know this was possible until recently. So I'll definitely be taking advantage of that myself. And lastly, we have suggested hashtags, which is just personalizing your feed. We already sort of looked at this where you can do this anywhere. Like if you're on a channel or a blog or whatever, at the top here, if you hit more, it allows you to personalize your feed. So it'll show you whatever you're trying to see specifically. And if you're just trying to see everything, you can just hit all. People were also asking me about searching hashtags and different things. I mean, searching hashtags you can do, but it's pretty much the same as if you were just doing what I just did there, right? Like if you were looking through posts and you were gonna just look through blockchain or crypto posts, then you could just switch it to crypto. I mean, you can search it like this, but it's gonna give you a whole bunch of different stuff. And if you're trying to be more specific, it's really just what you want to do, right? Because you can do top posts on crypto, and this is what you would do. You would just get rid of everything. You would just have crypto. So if you're looking for the top posts on crypto, you could do this. If you're looking for boosted posts on crypto, but I have boost turned off. If you're looking for people who you're subscribed to talking about crypto, you could do subscribed. And then I guess technically you would want to use search if you wanted to see not the top and not just people you're subscribed to, but just anyone who's talked about crypto lately. The only thing about like when you use the search is if you use top and latest, it'll also give you channels and groups and all this other stuff. But just scroll down to where it's talking about posts and you could probably find all the stuff that you're looking for as well. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of like searching. When we look at notifications, so notifications, when you open them up, you've got all your notifications. Then you've got only notifications for people who have tagged you. Then you've got only notifications for comments, for subscriptions, votes, and reminds. And the reason that this is broken down is so that you can find the right one that you're looking for very easily and just be able to filter through it. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be making more improvements to this to make it even better. But right now it's pretty good for what it is. Right now you just can't go directly to a comment when you click on it. But again, they are working on that as well. They just recently added nested comments, which has been a huge improvement, and they're going to keep adding more improvements. So then we have groups is the next thing we're going to talk about. You can see all the groups you're subscribed to here. Maybe not all of them, but at least a good portion of them. And they'll show up on this little sidebar here, and you can go just to them really quickly and easily. So that's pretty nice to have. But you can also see the same thing when you go into groups and then you look at my groups. It's not necessarily the groups that you're a moderator or owning, but groups that you're in. So, and then from there you can navigate pretty seamlessly. So, and then when you go to a group, you would hit, this would say join originally, and you would be able to join it. And I usually turn off notifications because it gets pretty spammy, but you can do whatever you want. And then you can leave the group if you choose. You can come in here, make posts, or you can talk in the chat. There's tons and tons of different groups for you to join, though groups haven't been the most active, but you know, who knows? I can't really speak for groups because I don't interact a ton with groups, so I don't have as much of an authority or experience in that to be able to give a really in-depth opinion on whether or not you should bother with groups. I wouldn't knock it, but personally it hasn't been the best for me to use groups. Now, when you're starting a new group, you would hit start new group. It was right there, and then you know, you can add your banner, add your profile picture for it. It's very similar to when you're starting your profile, just slightly different design aspects. And there's actually less to this, but there's a few different things. So, you know, you've got the name, the description, hashtags that are going to show up, that the group will show up in. And then you can set whether you want it to be an open or a closed group, like whether people can just join or you have to approve. And then same with posts. Can anyone post, or do you have to moderate the posts? And then you can set the default view to either the feed or the conversations. Though I'm not really sure how that works, since now both of them show up, so this might be irrelevant. But if I'm wrong there, let me know in the comments and I'll just make a little edit. But I'm pretty sure this doesn't actually matter anymore, since when you go to any group, there isn't a default one or the other. You just got both here. So this is the chat, this is the news feed. You've kind of got both mixed in. And it's really good that they do this because it allows you to have better real-time conversations and look at older posts and catch up on different conversations that are happening. So that's groups. We looked at searching. For Messenger, the really great thing about Messenger on Minds is that it's encrypted, so it's protecting your privacy and it's very transparent in doing so. You have to add an extra key. So after you create your account, you don't technically have Messenger yet, so no one can message you until you've created your Messenger. And that's really important because if someone wants to reach out to you, they can't until you add Messenger. So you have to create another password for Messenger because it's further encrypted, because Minds is supposed to be able to see your messages like Facebook does. So you'll make an extra password for this, and you can re-key it. You can change it, obviously. You can mute it, and you can log out of the Messenger so that, you know, say you leave this open, but you don't want people to check your messages or whatever, and you don't want to bother logging out, but you can log out of just Messenger, and then you'll have to re-log in to use it again. So it's just another layer of security in keeping your messages, your private messages, legitimately private and protecting your privacy. So that's Messenger. Messenger's pretty basic. I mean, you've got a blue dot to say that someone's online, and you'll have a green dot when someone has messaged you, as well as you'll typically see a little conversation blinking yellow at the bottom there. Now, Minds Plus. So Minds Plus is kind of confusing since there's no easy way to get to Minds Plus. Like, if I wanted to go to Minds Plus and I didn't know what it was, it would be really challenging to find. But you can see here, I've got a little badge for being a Minds Plus user, and you can click on the badge and that'll take you to Plus, which is nice. But really, it's just minds.com/plus, and then it'll take you here, and then you can subscribe to it. It's only 20 tokens a month, and it allows you to remove boosts from your feed, which is really nice. I haven't seen any, or I haven't really noted whatever the exclusive content is from Minds. The main reason that you want boosts, you want to use Minds Pro, is for verification. So you need to have Minds Pro to be verified on Minds, and you can do it with only 20 tokens, so that's not too bad at all, since you could just earn that and then, you know, wait and then spend it, or you could buy it for extremely cheap and do it like that, whatever you want to do. But you need Minds Plus to get verified. So it's pretty useful for anyone who's trying to get verified. And to get verified, they just need to link your account to some other social platforms and do a few other things, but it's pretty basic. There's not a whole lot of a process to it. And even if you stop using Minds Plus, you'll still stay verified. So that's kind of a big deal, since you only have to do it once and then you're good to go, and it's very, very cheap anyways. So there's really no issue in doing so. I just wanted to be sure about verification here. So it says you submit a request and you have to link at least 2 other social sites so they know it's you. They'll review the submission and then verify that you really are who you claim to be. And then you'll have a nice little blue verified badge on your profile, as well as it'll show up beside your name when people see your content and when you post comments. So it's kind of a nice way to legitimize yourself, and just well, you know, everyone wants the blue check, right? So if you're trying to get it, you just need to go and subscribe to the monthly 20 token Minds Plus, and then you can get verified from there. So I think that covers most of what we were talking about. There's a little bit more on the blog where I talk about like your bill of rights on Minds. I talk about the ranking system, but that's subject to change, so I don't really want to cover it too in depth. One thing that I did miss is rate limits. So I don't think this is going to change very much, and if it does, I'll make an update. But rate limits are just essentially, actually, I'll share it on the screen for, yeah, that's good. So rate limits are essentially just, they set different limits and restrictions as to how often you can do certain actions, just so that people aren't spamming the network. And they're pretty fair. I mean, like, say you're subscribing to a ton of people and you subscribe to more than 10 in 1 minute, you'll get rate limited for 1 minute. If you subscribe to 50 people in 5 minutes, you'll be rate limited for 5 minutes, just meaning you can't subscribe to anyone else for 5 minutes. If you do more than 200 in a day, then they'll rate limit you for a full day. So it's usually whatever rate limit you break is the same amount of restriction time that you have to wait. And as far as I know, there's no like, your account doesn't get like flagged or you don't lose anything if you get rate limits. It's just, you know, you hit that limit and then you get the restriction, and then it gets removed after the certain amount of time, and you'll get a notification telling you that that's happening, so you're actually aware. And yeah, I don't think there's a notification that tells you when it's over, just when it started. And just make note of that, and obviously don't continue doing the thing because you can't anyways. And I don't know if that'll make it go up. I've never tried to fight with it, but I have been rate limited before, and yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. But more or less, that is everything else in Minds, and I think that basically covers everything. And if there's anything I missed, let me know. I'll add it in just as like an edit to the blog. But more or less, I feel like this has covered everything there possibly is for Minds. This completes the playlist, and this should give you everything you could possibly need. I really hope that this has brought you guys a lot of value. Hopefully this wasn't too long. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.